Back now to our top story today. The White House moments ago said it is, quote, considering a response to brand new threats today from North Korea. As it's unpredictable, a young leader bangs the war drum again. Earlier today, the North said it will revive a nuclear reactor capable of producing bomb-grade materials as we get new video of troops there using images of American soldiers for target practice. My next guest warns North Korea may present the gravest short-term threat that the United States currently faces. Van Hipp is a former Deputy Assistant Secretary of the Army and chairman of the consulting firm American Defense International. Van, thank you for being here. And so I know that you believe that this is the greatest nuclear weapons challenge the United States has faced since the Cold War. Why? Because for so long we had largely dismissed the rhetoric coming out of North Korea as just that, rhetoric.
Well, I think that's part of the problem, Megyn. We did dismiss it. And when we did that, we only emboldened this young, immature 29-year-old dictator of North Korea. And no question, he has some mental health challenges just like his father and his grandfather. But there's something he has that they didn't have. He has a very mature ballistic missile capability. Don't forget the ballistic test, very successful, that we saw in December. As a result of that unha-3 rocket test, Megyn, back in December, there is a North Korean satellite in orbit right now, circling the Earth. Secondly, he has a much more mature nuclear capability that none of the other North Korean dictators ever had. And we know now from that February 12th test, Megyn, that it was a miniaturized nuclear warhead design, very similar to what Iran has. And we can trace its origin back to the infamous Dr. A.Q. Khan in Pakistan. So when you combine the ballistics and the nuclear...
That's the danger, the ballistic missile capability plus the nuclear capability, which you say that together is no laughing matter. And this son, who, is it like a chip on his shoulder? What is it? He's got to live up to the old man's legacy. The old man now is looking reasonable by comparison, is not somebody we want to have that dual capacity.
Correct, but he is like a chip off the old block. And, but let me tell you, you saw the news today with this, his further announcement of the plutonium enrichment facility, restarting that. Megyn, there's also strong evidence and satellite photos showing increased activity at one of their old uranium enrichment facilities as well. And we believe that the test in February was a test of a uranium
and that's worse than
device.
Plutonium. That's worse.
Much more so, and also they've got more of it. So the threat is much, much greater. I am glad to see the administration finally reopened Missile Field 1 at Fort Greely, Alaska. That's something I've called on for a long time. That's really our first line of defense as far as ground-based interceptors are concerned to take out anything that could come to the United States.
I mean, it just seems crazy to be talking about the North Koreans actually hitting the continental United States with some sort of nuclear bomb, but you're talking about missile defense that we need on our West Coast to prevent this lunatic over there from trying exactly that?
Megyn, we went from 3 planned missile silo fields at Fort Greely, which could take out something like this, down to 1. The administration has reversed its decision there. It's a good thing. But when you send a signal like that, when you gut missile defense, when you cut $1.2 trillion out of our defense budget, that sends the wrong message, and it invites trouble from someone like Kim Jong-un. So we've sent the wrong message.
I don't want to scare our viewers unnecessarily because, again, we're getting a pretty good picture for what kind of person we're dealing with over there. But what kind of capacity do you believe he has to actually hit us here in the United States and hurt us?
Well, I'm very concerned that we're getting closer and closer where he can take that miniaturized nuclear warhead and put it on a missile. And it doesn't have to be accurate. We saw from the debris fields from that ballistic test in December that the range is much further and much greater than we ever envisioned. And there's also some concern that he may have obtained an electromagnetic pulse warhead. You don't have to be accurate with that, and that can take out your power grid. But I do think the actions that we've taken the last, I would say, 48 hours are the right actions, and hopefully he'll get the message and begin to ratchet down the rhetoric. It was a good sign yesterday that North Korea did pass a law saying that they are a defensive nuclear state. But we need to put a pressure on China as well. I think they really hold. I mean, they're really key in this.
Yeah, they're the ones who can actually get a result from North Korea. But what is really going on here? Because North Korea is a mess, and one wonders whether this is all a big distraction from the problems that Kim Jong-un is having in his own country. I mean, is he just banging this war drum so it's sort of a look over here? Because, I mean, if you look back over the past 10 years, repeatedly they do this, in particular with this nuclear facility, Yongbyon. I mean, back in 1994, they shut it down in exchange for an aid deal. Then they reactivated it in 2002 after the deal broke down. Then in 2007, they suspended it again. Then in 2008, they blew up, we have video of it, a tower there, because they got what they wanted from us in terms of this aid deal. Now, once again, we keep trading for over the same plant and the same threat. And what do they get out of it?
You're exactly right, and they want food and money, and that's what I think really it's all about. But Megyn, this time I think they've miscalculated because, and we've got to take it much more seriously now than ever before because of the maturity of that nuclear and ballistic threat. And you're right about the Chinese. The Chinese have put troops along the North Korean border because they don't want North Koreans coming across their border. But again, China, there's a power struggle taking place in China. On one hand, they did the right thing by crafting the UN Security Council recent resolution, but on the other, they helped Iran funnel money through a Chinese bank to help pay for their nuclear test back in February. So it's China's got to get tough, and it's time for the international community to focus on China. You helped create this mess. You need to help solve it.
Wow, what a situation, Van. Thank you.
Good to be with you.
See